Yes. Good evening, people. Welcome back to another late night chat podcast. Feels like it's been ages. It's been 4 or 5 days. I've been busy. We were meant to be live last night, but I got stuck doing CBS. I was live on CBS in the States, in America, doing a watch along for them for the City Copenhagen game. But we're back. We're back. There's 25 of you in the building. Who have we got so far, man? We've got Briggsy, we got Bevo, 2 channel members. We got Puneet, a channel member. We got Terrell, Alex, we got AK City Till I Die, Thomas. Yeah, welcome all of you. Make sure you've all smashed a like on this stream. As always, the goal is 50 likes. Let's see how fast we can get 50 likes on this stream. We've been breaking records recently. We're also 20 subscribers away from 7k here on the channel, so share it around. Help us get to 7k, that would be sick. And there should be a link in the chat now when Joe puts it in for channel memberships. Anybody wants to be a channel member like Briggsy, Bevo, and Puneet, you're helping out myself and Joe. Join the HMTV army. Big up George as well. He says, greetings from Jamaica. That's sick, man. Yeah, listen, welcome. Everybody, welcome. Smash a like. Get yourself sat down. Look forward to the show. Get involved with the conversations. We're going to be chatting Champions League. We've got off to a great start in our road to retaining the Champions League. Hopefully, all in all, I feel really good about the Champions League as a competition. I watched a bit of Bayern Munich tonight. They're a bit of a shambles. I saw bits of Real Madrid last night. They don't look too great, but they had no Bellingham or no Courtois, and missing a few players. But we'll get into it. City, we did our job. We beat Copenhagen 3-1 away from home, and I think it's a perfect result. I actually think it's, other than conceding, and we'll talk about the goal itself, I actually think it's a perfect result. 3-1 away from home. Briggsy, I hope you had fun in Copenhagen, by the way. 3-1 away from home in the Champions League, man, you really, really can't complain. There's a few issues, injuries, of course, and we'll get into it all, but I suppose before we get into the ins and outs of it, Joe, what do you think? We're going back to the Etihad, which is sandwiched in between United and Liverpool, with a 3-1 lead.
That's the big one for me, is having a lead, like a significant lead. I'm very happy that we went for the third and didn't just settle for 2-1. Because 2-1 in itself in an away leg in the Champions League, it's a good result. Like, let's look at ourselves. It's still a good result. But I'm happy we went for the third because of, like you said, the timing of it, in between a Manchester derby, which is on a Sunday, short turnaround to Wednesday, back on the Sunday against Liverpool. Like, it's not a kind scheduling, so to have that sort of 2-goal cushion where, you can do a few things. You can just be professional and, have a slow game where it's not very high scoring and not very entertaining and you just end up winning 1-0 or something. Or you could, blitz them in the first 20 and then take a few players off, slow the game down then, and then just see it out. Like, it gives us that room for flexibility for what, should be the more important fixtures, really, because I don't imagine us throwing away a 3-1 lead. Stranger things have happened, and we've lost to worse teams. Like, it's happened before, and I've been hurt before. But with the state of this squad and the mentality it has now, I find it hard to believe we throw away a 3-1 lead at home. So having that option with those tougher games around it to maybe use that as an opportunity to not go as gung-ho and not go all out and risk injuries, because I'm sure we'll talk about them because we've had a fully fit squad for 10 minutes.
Yeah, we don't have much luck with injuries this season, do we? It seems like, well, once we get a fully or close to full complement of players, 1 or 2 or 3 players go and pick up an injury. But I want to touch a bit in on this really quickly because it is very topical in the Manchester City community today. From Bevo, he says, highlight of my day was listening to our new hero Jay give it some beans on talk shite against Jim and Jordan. Did you see this, Joe?
I saw that someone had a go. I didn't actually listen to it or anything.
This Jay fella, I don't know him, but he obviously is a passionate Manchester City fan, and I want to say credit to him, man. He spoke unbelievably. He went on to TalkSport. It was following, basically, I think it was almost straight after the final whistle. Simon Jordan and Jim White and co have been watching the game, and they're giving their analysis after. And basically the point that this Jay guy was making when he came in was, Why, when Manchester City win in emphatic fashion away from home in Europe, when all the talk, all the attention should be on Phil Foden, unbelievable young English talent, smashing it at the minute. Kevin De Bruyne, back from a 6-month injury. He's only not scored or assisted in one game since his return. That was Tottenham. Ake, absolutely class. City on course to, continue on the competition. Why does the conversation always have to revert back to 115 and dodgy sponsorships? And he basically went in on them, talking about red-centric media and how, TalkSport know what they're doing. And he went in on Jim White specifically twice. He basically said they know what they're doing when they're criticizing Manchester City. And he basically said it was really backwards, how you're just trying to appeal to the masses. You know that your audience is primarily Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, etc. And you're just trying to slate City because that appeals to them. And how they totally ignore the fact that, well, they try to paint City with this brush that we bought our success and we're a manufactured club, etc., etc. And he basically raised a very valid point, which is that all these clubs spent big money to get their success. And how Man United went 25 years without winning a trophy, pumped a load of money in, became really successful. Liverpool has spent major money. Arsenal has spent major money. No one has become hyper successful without spending major money. And Simon Jordan and Jim White were like, well, they didn't have a real answer to give to him. They just became really condescending and patronizing. But this Jay guy spoke unbelievably well, and he really put them in their place. And I have to say credit to him. It was a really interesting listen. It's well worth a listen for anybody who gets a chance.
I mean, power to him, because we know what TalkSport are like. I don't listen to TalkSport. I don't pay attention. I'm pretty sure I have them muted on Twitter because they are just the biggest shite stirrers going. Like, they love to just lump it on us or lump it on clubs like us. They'll do it to Newcastle as well, because Newcastle are throwing money at their problem. Like, that's just the way it goes, the way the cookie crumbles. They know their audience. Fair play to them. They know exactly who they're appealing to. But it doesn't stop it from becoming tiring, and, thank God someone has decided to actually, stand up against them. It's lazy, but they know what they're doing. Like you said, they know what they're doing. Their audience is, a lot of their audience is sort of the Red Mafia, isn't it? Where they all hate City and, it's all anti-City and, you bought your success. That's their audience. And again, like, I have no problem with them pandering to their audience. But there does become a point where I can think of other ideas.
Any organization that has the likes of Rory Jennings and Mark Ulbridge on the payroll, I can't take seriously, because these are kings at clickbait. These are kings at generating big audiences to target certain topics. We've got nearly 50 in the building and only 20 likes. Guys, make sure you've hit the like button. The goal is always 50. Let's try and get up to 50 rapid. My OCD kicks in. I want to hit that big 50 as soon as possible. So please hit the like button if you would. But I thought, the Jay, the Man City fan, shout out Jay. I don't know, does he use social media? I don't know, does he use YouTube, or will he ever see this? But shout out him, man. He spoke unbelievably well. And it's about time someone went on that platform and really put Jim White. I hate Jim White. I think he's a condescending knob. I think likewise with Simon Jordan, that they were put in their place, because TalkSport as a platform has become just an area where people can just slate Manchester City and criticize Manchester City almost without any opposition, almost totally freely, knowing no one is going to really, bite back. And then this Jay went on and really put them in their place, because it is boring. It's really lazy. It's really lazy after you've watched Manchester City win away from home in Europe to ultimately talk about charges, to ultimately talk about legalities and regulations, especially when we've been found guilty of absolutely nothing. It's so lazy. In an integral world, in a fair world, City win 3-1 away from home against Copenhagen, and we're talking about what we should be talking about and what we're going to talk about on this stream, which is the fantastic performances from individual players, errors from individual players, whatever. You should be analysing the game, not trying to say, they won, but they won off false or unfair grounds. It's absolute bollocks. They don't know what they're talking about, because none of us do. Just because they're sitting in a mainstream media setup doesn't mean they know any more than me or you about charges or about alleged false or fake sponsorships. It's absolute rubbish, and I was very happy to see this Jay. I'd love if Jay is open to coming on YouTube. Tell him he's more than welcome to come on to HMTV and have a chat with me and Joe, because Yeah, man, he's a good guy. He knows what he's talking about. But
I won't even mind, right? I won't even mind. It's a different competition. These are Premier League charges. It's a Champions League night.
I know. It's lazy, man. I'm sick of it. Every chance these kind of people get, Goldbridge and Talksport and wafflers, just out and out wafflers who have no interest in anything other than clicks, making revenue, not actually discussing the football, the ins and outs of the football. They're not real footballing people. They're just gobshites. They just want to be negative towards Manchester City because that's the popular thing to do. If supporting and glamorizing Manchester City was the popular thing to do, they would do that. Glamorizing Real Madrid is the popular thing to do because Real Madrid universally have this romantic image of, 14 Champions Leagues, whatever it is, and the Galacticos, this, that, the other. Real Madrid are a disgusting football club. Real Madrid have dodgy dealings left, right, and centre, allegedly, and Real Madrid boo their players out of the stadium, their best players. They're a horrible football club, but it's become the norm socially to glamorise Real Madrid, so that's what they'll do. It's not normal to glamorise Manchester City and our successes, and the manner in which we in modern day society have built our success, which is normal. A businessman investing in his business to make his business successful. Wow, are you mind blown? Isn't that crazy? A businessman wanting his business to thrive, so he puts money into it. Wow. Anyway, we'll park Talksport there for a sec. I wanted to shout out that Jay because he's a real one. He's a real blue man. We're 14 likes off the big 50. I think we can get there soon. I think we can hit the big 50 soon. Let's get back to Bevo supports City, man. Bevo's a big City supporter, AK. Let's get back to the football talk. So the first goal, obviously, Phil Foden. I want in this show, podcast, stream, whatever, I want to give a good conversation and good shout out to Phil Foden because I feel Phil Foden is indirectly disrespected. And I feel that in a sense that people don't pay enough recognition and put enough respect on what this young man has achieved in such a short space of time and such an early period in his career. He's being put up against the likes of Saka all the time, and I don't get why. I said live on City Extra earlier on, I'm going to call a spade a spade. Foden is far superior as a footballer to Bukayo Saka. I don't understand why this debate becomes a thing. I don't care how much numbers Bukayo Saka puts up stat-wise. G&A, he can get them all. All you have to do is watch football with your eyes to know Phil Foden is far superior technically. The way he reads the game, he is a better footballer. Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham are the pinnacle of the up-and-coming English players, but Foden should still be regarded as higher than Jude Bellingham right now. Why? Because Phil Foden is a 5-time Premier League winner. Phil Foden is a Champions League winner. He's played in 2 Champions League finals. This guy is so accomplished at 23, 24 years old, and yet people still, they don't hype him up enough enough as much as he deserves. You know what I'm saying? Look at the way they hype up Kobe Mainoo. Look at the way they hype up Garnacho. Look at the way they hype up Saka. Look at the way they hype up any of these guys. Manchester City youngsters and Manchester City stars will not get this hype. So it's up to us to give them that hype and give them that credit. Last night, Phil Foden was absolutely class. For the last 2, 3, nearly 4 months, Phil Foden has been absolutely class. And you don't hear enough talk about it, Joe?
No, and he hit a milestone yesterday. He's now reached double digits for goals and assists this season on competitions. I believe he hit an appearance one as well.
And a milestone, the youngest ever player in the competition's history to get 50 appearances, Champions League.
Like, he's just smashing records left, right, and centre. And I feel like we've been waiting for this one where a lot of us have been believing that eventually he will become this sort of potential, 20 and 20 guy. That's sort of the level that we think he can get to, where he'll get you 20 goals, 20 assists, all competitions. And that'll just become his standard. And he's close. He's on 15 goals and 10 assists. And we're in February. We're in mid-February. Like, he's still got a while to go. He could, in theory, reach those numbers. Will his assists drop off? Maybe with his role sort of changing on a week-to-week basis. You see Kevin De Bruyne come back. He's taken that more central role. Foden was shoved out a little bit on the wider side. Yesterday, still had a little bit of freedom to move about, but he had more freedom to move about than he did against Everton. Against Everton, he was proper winger, but it's that sort of where it's coming to the stage now where you're having to accommodate Phil Foden. I spoke about this a few streams ago, where it was the other way around. To get Phil Foden in the team, you had to, move him around to accommodate others, because you couldn't, fathom dropping Ilkay Gundogan in the end of the season, or Bernardo Silva, those sorts of players. It's the other way around now. You have to find a way to get Phil Foden in the team. Regardless of, players you've got available, he has to start. He has to play this sort of free-flowing role where he's allowed to swap with players. I saw yesterday, Kevin De Bruyne was out on the right wing at some points yesterday, and Foden was a bit more central. They swap around, it's fluid, it's nice. It lets Foden, be free, do what he's good at, picking up space. De Bruyne as well, same thing. It's hard to mark players when they do that, when they swap positions around. So it's a very, very, very good thing that I'm happy to see. I'm happy to see that he's becoming a main part of the team, because the last few seasons... Last season, maybe not so much because he dealt with his injuries, but sort of seasons before that, it was very, wherever there's a space, he'll be there. But now it's very much, he'll be there. It's whoever's around him.
Guys, there's 60 in the building. If 13 of you hit the like button now, we can hit our goal of 50. So make sure you've hit the like button. It massively, massively helps me and Joe out. I watched the show earlier on YouTube, and I won't name the show and I won't name the content creator, but... this content creator went on a massive rant about how Phil Foden is overrated. Now, talk about doing this the night after Phil Foden bossed the Champions League game, scored in the Champions League, and has been absolutely smashing it for months. And I think he might have the most appearances this season, Phil Foden, beside Ederson. He's well up there. He's in the top 3 or 4 in terms of appearances this season. He went on this massive rant about Foden, and he kept referring to him as a bench player, a bit part player, utility, rotation. I think it's become way too common for people to beat Phil Foden with that stick, and it's the last thing they can use to try and knock him down a pedestal, when the reality is, if you use your fucking eyes and stop looking at stats, well, you can look at stats now. You can go and look at stats now, because the stats will show Phil Foden is playing every single fucking game. I won't respond.
No comment.
No comment. Someone might have got it in the chat. It's become rubbish, man. It's become rubbish to shit on Phil Foden and try and put him up against other players and compare him to this player, compare him to that player. Phil Foden, Rio Ferdinand, to be fair to him, summed it up fairly accurately last night. When Haaland and De Bruyne were absent this season, Phil Foden took the responsibility of this team on his shoulders. The numbers will show that. The appearances will show that, and the performances will show that. Barring maybe the first month of Premier League football this season, when Phil Foden was playing midfield, maybe month and a half, you could argue Foden wasn't controlling games. He wasn't stamping his authority on games. But since then, from kind of late October, November onwards, Phil Foden is running the show. And at times, single-handedly running the show, because there was no Haaland, there was no De Bruyne, Grealish has been in and out, Doku's in and out, Bernardo's there, of course, but Foden, as a force, has been dominating games, controlling the midfield, being creative and making things happen. But people choose to ignore that. Put him out in the wing. He's still cooking. Last night, the assist he got for De Bruyne's first goal was a thing of beauty. And because he makes it look so effortless and makes it look so easy, people don't take note of it. The intuition, the awareness to first of all pick that pass to get the assist for De Bruyne. And then the technical ability to execute it, the perfect weight in the ball for a quality player to run on and put it away. You can't teach that. You can be coached by Pep all you want. You can be coached by whoever and play with whoever all you want on a week-to-week basis. Phil Foden has what you call the X factor. He has that extra ability that 95% of other players don't have. And this season, he's stamping his authority on this team. He's no longer, whatever if you wanted to say previously, he's in and out, he hasn't really nailed down a spot in the team sheet. Phil Foden is now a main man, a mainstay. I said, Joe, at the start of this season on a number of shows that I want Foden to become like a Rodri, a Haaland, a De Bruyne, and Ederson, where when Pep's picking his team, he puts those first 4 or 5 names in. He goes, yeah, they're obviously playing. And then the rest will kind of decide. He is now that. If we're playing a big game, or we're playing at all, obviously, Foden is one of the first names in the team sheet for Pep Guardiola's treble-winning Blues. Respect.
Well, I mean, here are your stats for those who want to know. I did, take a Google while you're going on there. We played 37 games this season. He's been in the squad for every single one of them and played in 36 of those 37, with 5 of them coming from the bench. The only match he didn't play, I'm looking here, is Young Boys away in the Champions League group stage. It's the only match this season he hasn't at least got some sort of minutes from the bench. Like, that's insane. A few years ago, that's unheard of. He doesn't do that. Phil Foden doesn't play that much. But this season, it's crazy.
It's unheard of for most footballers because of natural rotation. Whatever about Pep roulette and Pep rotation, that's one level. But even normal managers won't play a player that much and that often. Phil Foden is getting picked week in, week out. People don't appreciate enough the development and progression line that Pep outlined for Phil Foden when he was just a young player, when he was 16, 17. Remember, he was 16, making his debut in pre-season against Man United up against Pogba and stuff. And we saw it that day. We're like, wow, this kid's really got something about him. He comes in and he gets 4 or 5 appearances Centurion season, gets his medal, Premier League medal #1. That was smart as well. That is called blooding a player. You're getting a player who deserves it and is ready for it, a taste for winning, knows what it's like now to wear a medal around his neck, but it's time for him to start working towards making his own. He didn't make that Centurion season. He wasn't the mainstay in that team. He didn't really impact it massively, but he got a taste for it. Pep could have put him out on loan. Pep could have sold him, but Pep said, trust me, I know what I'm doing. I've made players before. I've made Messi, I've made Busquets, I've made plenty of others. You just stick with me. I promise you, by the time you hit 23, 24, 25, you will be where you need to be. Foden trusted the process. Foden trained day in, day out with world-class players. Bernardo, David Silva, Gundogan, Yaya, De Bruyne, Aguero, Tevez. You name it. Any of these superstars we've had over the years, he's trained and played with them. He's learnt off them all of them. Rodri, Fernandinho, company, he's learnt off them all. His game time has increased season in, season out, and now he's arrived. Phil Foden has arrived on the main stage to wear that Manchester City shirt 3 times a week and have expectation on his shoulders. He's got responsibility on his shoulders and he's embracing it. He's totally embracing it. You see the freedom he plays football, the way he moves around the pitch. He might line up as a right winger. He might line up as a centre midfielder. But he's everywhere. He's absolutely everywhere because he has the footballing brain to move around and be impactful wherever he is. I mean, someone in the chat said a second ago, yeah, Foden's ball control is mint. Everything about it is mint. Absolutely everything about the guy is just next level. Big up Piplup with the £2, my guy Piplup. It's good to see you in the stream, man. It's always a good stream when Piplup's about. He says, Pep has moulded Foden into the perfect player. He has. You could really argue he has. Like, you know that period I'm talking about, Joe, where Foden was playing against United in pre-season and he was kind of coming on in the Centurion season and he featured a couple times in the 18-19 season. He scored that goal against Spurs at home. Some of you will remember. We all at that stage were like, we have our next David Silva. As football fans who are used to watching great players, Silva's, companies, Aguero's, we're always like, okay, who's going to be the next one of them? We need our next David Silva. We need our David Silva replacement. And we all latched on to Phil Foden and went, you are the David Silva replacement. Pep said, no, you're not the David Silva replacement. You're Phil Foden. And you're going to be Phil Foden. You were never meant to be David Silva. You were never meant to be a like for like. You were never meant to just slot into what David Silva did. You are Phil Foden. And through all those players I named that he's trained and played with for years, Phil Foden has learnt and gathered attributes from all of them. He has become a hybrid of the best that Manchester City under Pep Guardiola has produced. You see his ball control, David Silva, Bernardo Silva-esque. You see his passing range, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan-esque. His finishing at times. He's got that no-look finish for some reason. It's weird. But there's no doubt he's watched our best finishers over the years finish and gone, how can I learn from that? He is a complete attacking footballer. Not David Silva. He's not the Gundogan replacement. He won't be the Kevin De Bruyne replacement. He is his own unique hybrid that makes up Phil Foden, Joe.
So it's great. It's great hearing this. I love hearing this because it's great to see the progression. And then it just reminds me, in like 4 months, I've got to watch Gareth Southgate manage this man. Like, it's just such a disservice that he's going to do all this work and not get rewarded for it. Like, the form he's had, like you say, he's learnt off so many people, so many top players he's learnt off of, different aspects of the game, that you can see that he's moulded. You can see, the way he receives the ball on the turn, the way he finishes, the way he dribbles, like... And then add to that the fact that he's just versatile. He's willing to play any position Pep wants him to play. One of his first senior appearances was at left back. Like, he was just willing to play. He was willing to do whatever the manager wanted, and it worked out for him. You've seen players that have left that, some of them have worked, some of them hasn't. Like, grass isn't always greener. Sometimes you just got to wait your time.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Like, we've seen so many players over the years. Brahim Diaz, fair play to him. He's doing well at Real Madrid now. You had Jadon Sancho. You have Cole Palmer. And this isn't me disrespecting any of them. What I'm about to say was them doing what's best for them. They went off. They weren't prepared to wait. They weren't prepared to trust Pep. They felt they needed to go now. And look, no one's going to begrudge them for that. If you decide you need to leave and you want to leave, we ain't going to make you stay. We're not going to force you to stay in Manchester City. Phil Foden is the exception to that. He said, hang on, I have a world-class manager here, arguably the best of all time, saying he has a progression development plan for me. I'm not going to go against that. I'm going to trust that. He's trusted it, and now he's reaping the rewards because he's more successful than all those players combined. He's more successful than, he's got more appearances in the Champions League than all those players. And he's just generally smashing it, Phil Foden. I'm so happy for him. And I said this on City Extra earlier as well. With the lack of praise Phil Foden gets for how good he is, how much he's achieved at such a young age, how much responsibility is on his shoulders. I know as fans we mean well when we're like, he's the next so-and-so, or he's this good, he's that good. But for some players, they don't actually do well in those situations because it's pressure. It's pressure on them to become better and get better all the time. He has embraced it. Phil Foden knows that we love him, but we also have expectations for Phil Foden. He knows he's adored, Stockport and Iniesta, but he knows that we expect him to go on and be everything we want him to be, and he's doing that. He's got the mental strength along with the footballing ability. He has absolutely everything. And it's up to us as fans of Manchester City who watch him week in, week out, to make sure we let the world know how good this guy is, because no one else is going to do it for us. The Red Cartel media won't do it for us. You won't see Jim White, Simon Jordan, you won't see Mark Goldberg, you won't see any of these guys gassing up Phil Foden the way they'll gas up Bellingham or Saka or Kobe Mainu. So we have to gas him up because we know how good he is. I don't even care what they think, but if you're going to compare him to people who are nowhere near his level, I'm going to let you know. We're 3 likes off 50 and there's 70 in the building. Please make sure you've hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. There's going to be a link in the chat now for channel memberships. If you want to become a member of the channel, help support myself and Joe, click that link, $3.99 a month, and you're just becoming a legend essentially. Super chat here from my guy Puneet, thank you for the super chat. He says Foden and Alvarez at full potential is mint. Of course, I think both of them still have so much more to go. I think that's the scary part. With Foden particularly, that's the most scary part. He's this good now at 23, 24. What's he going to be like when he's 25, 26? And he's more seasoned. He's been looked after. We know how to manage these players. We know how to manage their game time, what they can, what they can't do, what they should, what they shouldn't do. Alvarez is slightly further behind in his development because he's simply not with us as long. Alvarez has a lot to learn, has a lot to develop on, a lot to work on, but he has the capacity to go on and be a really top player. So I think you're right, Punny. We have, like Joe, we have a fantastic range of young players right now, and this is another thing City won't get credit for ever. People are too busy talking about 115 and sponsorships and commercial deals. They don't talk about our ability to just keep refreshing, keep transitioning, keep things freshened up. Just as you think one cycle of City players has come to an end, there's always another fresh line of youngsters or or transfers to come in, and we keep it going. That's how you win 5 and 6. That's how you win hopefully 4 in a row. That's how you win trebles, mate.
And those who trust the process are rewarded for trusting the process as well. Like anybody who's left, there's been very few who have left and developed significantly and gone on to do better things than what would have happened if they would have stayed. And again, like, it's scary to think what Phil Foden can do, because you mention all these variables, like he's still only 23, he's still got, many years left on his development. He's still got to nail down a position. He still doesn't have a nailed-on position. His role still changes on a week-to-week basis. Imagine what he could do if he was in a consistent role, if things evolved around him, like they did for that sort of, 3-4 weeks before Kevin De Bruyne came back. When it was him, he was the main man. Imagine if he gets an extended run like that, where he is the main man. He's not going to be taken out of there. That's a good run. And look at the amount of players who, have come through from us and are doing great elsewhere, or great, for what their expectations were. Cole Palmer, he's Chelsea's best player this season by a mile. He was deemed not good enough to, to play for us. Like, that's just the level of our academy. And you look at, James McAtee at Sheffield United. He's probably been one of their better players since he signed for them on loan. Like, the level of youth that we have is incredible. Like, we won 3 youth titles in a row at both under 18s and under 21s level. Like, it wasn't just, senior domination. It was just domination of the entire English top flight across all age levels. Like, that's a great academy.
It is. And you have to, Lemon in the chat said without Pep, it's not as guaranteed as you make it seem. No, but I'm attributing Foden's success to Pep, and I'm attributing them to each other. That Foden trusted Pep, and Pep trusted Foden, and Pep believed in Foden, and Pep's eye for talent and being able to see young players and going, I know what I can turn them into. I know what talent they have and what kind of player I can see them becoming in the future. He did it with Jack Grealish, even though Jack Grealish is much older. He made Jack Grealish go from being almost an attacking, free-rolling midfielder under Dean Smith to, no, you now have a more specific role at Manchester City, but it's a very, very important role to the way we play. So, yes, but what Joe's talking about in terms of the academy is you have to put that down to Pep Guardiola in terms of the philosophy of football, but the board and our recruitment and our ability to get these young players into the club, give them a career, whether that's go on to play for Manchester City, whether it's play for a CFG club, or go around Europe, like the ones I've named, Sancho, Diaz, Cole Palmer, the Nemetja brothers, Morgan Rogers. There's so many of them who we gave a career to because we are now world renowned for having probably the best academy in world football. We probably do. Look at any of the top leagues around Europe. There's CFG and CFA products in all these academies. So everyone wants to come and get our players. Basically, those who don't make the Man City first team, you will probably play for a club somewhere else because you are good enough to play for Man City. You will go on and play for a club at a first team level somewhere else. Big up Piplup again, man with the £2, says, next Rodri in our academy, Jacob Wright, trust me. I'm not up to date with the academy these days. I used to watch a lot of the academy back in the Foden, Brahim Diaz, Jadon Sancho days, Piplup. But I've heard very, very good reports about this Jacob Wright. Obviously, he was rewarded for his efforts with an appearance against, was it Huddersfield? I think it was Huddersfield, wasn't
it? I was there. He did come on.
What did you think of him? You watched him in person.
It was hard to really judge because at that point we were what? Was it 5-0, 6-0? Like Huddersfield had just given up.
But when you can just look at a player and go, well, the way he carries himself, the way he moved the ball, like what was your assessment?
He fits in. Like he's comfortable on the ball. He doesn't look slow. That's one issue that we all had with Calvin Phillips to bring his name back, is that he looked slow. Jacob Wright didn't look slow. Like he looked like he adjusted to the speed of the game. Again, he was comfortable on the ball, which is something that if you want to be a backup to Rodri, you need to be one hell of a player because he does so much for us, both sides of the ball. Like I don't know, I'm not too clued in because I think he only got sort of 5-10 minutes, and again Huddersfield had given up by that point. But from what I saw, like potential. There
you go, Piplup. I'll take your word, and I'm going to keep looking out for him. Like, look. To get into our team right now, you've got to be exceptional. We're the best team in world football. You've got to be exceptional. And Pep must see something in this Jacob Wright if he's willing to give him a chance, even albeit against Huddersfield when we're absolutely thrashing them. But I'll definitely keep an eye out for him. Joe, it's that time. We got to give a quick round of applause to the chat. You guys have smashed the like goal of 50. Thank you for hitting 50 likes, man. That's always the goal. It's always a good stream when we hit 50 likes, and you guys have done that. Massively appreciate that. If you haven't done so, make sure you do. Subscribe as well. I think we're about 15 now away from 7K. Big 7,000. The community's growing. I'm telling you, you guys are all part of the community. And if you want to help the community out and help myself and Joe out, there's a link in the chat right now to become a channel member, like Bevo, like there's a few channel members here. Briggsy was here, Ponita channel member. $3.99 a month. You're just helping me and Joe out. You get a badge beside your name, and we will make you a channel moderator. So if you want to be a moderator, become a channel member. Massively appreciate you guys hitting 50 likes though. Let's keep it moving, because I did want to give good time and good airtime to Phil Foden, because not many people outside the Man City space will do so. We are in the Man City space, but it's down to us to give him his props, because the guy fucking deserves it. He's smashing it. When we go on, I said this earlier on, for those of you who watch City Extra, when we go on to win a major honour this season, I believe we will win at least one, if not both, of the Premier League and Champions League. I really believe in this team. We will thank Phil Foden massively for that. This will be the season. Whichever one or both of those we win, it'll be the first where you go, Phil Foden was huge in that. So we have to appreciate that, man. We have to appreciate Phil Foden. He's an animal. Big up Rosemary coming from Jamaica. Appreciate you coming in, Rosemary. Big up Lemon. I'm here from Big Six. Great job, Hugh. Thank you for coming in, Lemon, man. Appreciate you. Let's keep it moving, man. The next man of the moment was, of course, Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne, interesting stat. You must have all seen it by now. Since his return from injury, there's only been one game he's not scored or assisted in, and that was Tottenham away. He didn't get a goal or assist there. So how many games are we looking at since his return? He came back. What was his first game back, Joe?
Was it Huddersfield? Or was it Sheffield?
Yes. So you've had 7 games he's played in since he's come back from injury, and only one he's not scored or assisted in. If I am the Premier League right now, and I am the Champions League right now, the teams competing with us, I'm very afraid. And he himself said last night he doesn't feel he's anywhere near back to full fitness. Brother, if you're playing like this and you're not back to full fitness, jeez. What's he going to be like when he's fully fit, man? He looks class. We've known for years how good he is, but the relief and the excitement to see him come back from a long layoff and just be this good straight away is just next level. Like, you saw his goal last night. He just made it look effortless. That's not an easy finish. Similar to the assist. Foden made it look easy. De Bruyne made that finish look easy. He made the finish against Newcastle. Remember that goal? Look easy, where he passed it in from 30 yards out, whatever it was. It's not easy. Kevin De Bruyne is a freak of nature. And it's people like him playing the way he is right now. People like, it's nothing even to do with Haaland, because Haaland's got nowhere near to top gear yet. But it's people like De Bruyne playing the way they are, Foden playing the way they are, Ake playing the way they are, Rodri playing the way they are, which is why I sit here and go, I'm so confident we're going to win at least one, if not two major honours this season. But man, Kevin De Bruyne, Joe, talking about this guy, he's just an absolute freak.
Well, as I was about to question as to whether he got that second assist, Harry Briggsy put it in the chat that via City Extra, Bossman Freddie Pie says they counted on his second assist. The tackle doesn't count. So, unfortunate. But still, like, come on, it's ridiculous. That goal is ridiculous. I'm sorry, there's not a world in which you should be scoring from that angle. That's ridiculous. Like, that shouldn't happen. I don't know whether you can blame the goalkeeper or what. I don't care. That shouldn't happen. But he managed to make it happen. Because that's the player he is. And I said in my review that I still think he's got a few levels to go up yet. Like, his game still isn't, like, utter perfection. He still hasn't had, the perfect game. He's just had exceptionally good games since he's come back. He's still yet to have, like, perfection. You know what I mean? Like, there's still parts of his game that I think one of them for me that stood out yesterday, and maybe it's just because he took all the corners and they were absolutely dreadful, but whoever takes our corners are dreadful. But, sometimes some of his crossing wasn't the best. I still think he has, a few gears to go up yet. And he's still only one game that he hasn't registered a contribution, and that was Tottenham away. And even if you look at Tottenham away, it was his corner that created the scramble for the goal. So even then, like, you can't say he's not been involved. Like, he's been involved in the goal in every single game that he's featured in. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, there were people betting on him to still be the top assister come the end of the season in the league. And it doesn't look a bad shout, does it? Like, genuinely.
I think Lewis, LB, has put a bet on before De Bruyne got back from injury to say De Bruyne would be the top assister in the league. I give him a good chance of winning that bet. I think you're right. I give De Bruyne a really good chance. What De Bruyne needs to become the top assister in the league is for Haaland to really click. We've not seen, even though Haaland's the top scorer this season in the league with 16 goals, we've not seen Haaland really, click into that Haaland robot gear where everything he touches ends up on the back of the net like we saw last season. And I'm not saying for 1 second we demand or expect Haaland to hit the heights that he hit last season, because last season was one of those probably once in a lifetime seasons. Freakish. But we need Haaland to be, feeling confident and hitting the back of the net more. And look, I only found out today, to be fair to Haaland, that he lost a grandparent this week. So maybe that would contribute to why he wasn't as potent last night, even though I think he did some things well. It's obviously a difficult time for him and his family to lose a family member. So, thoughts and prayers with the Haaland family. But in regards to De Bruyne, would you agree that, if Haaland can really find those shooting boots and, update the iOS software, and that De Bruyne should have that, he could, or he might have that top spot for assist in his sights?
Yeah, it does depend, because even though we've still been scoring plenty of goals recently, we still are missing chances. Like, I think our XG last night was about 3.5. Like, we're still not being really, really clinical. We don't have to be. Like, that's not an expectation or anything. But there still is, a little bit of room for improvement. And Haaland is a culprit of that, where in the start of the season, I think everybody was in agreement that, like, he's top scorer, but he still missed a few sitters. Like, he still could be on a few more goals than he was, just because the nature of his finishing, and people didn't know what to put it down to, whether it was, the lack of De Bruyne, maybe something to do with his confidence, or, not being found every game and a bit of frustration and creep into his poor finishing. But if he knuckles down second half of the season and absolutely smashes it, then again, like that, the odds of Kevin De Bruyne, being the top assister come season end is high. Like, I don't know what he's on now. In terms of, I'm trying to find out myself as I'm going on here, but I don't know what he's on compared to everybody else. I believe who would be up there? Foden would probably be up there. Trent as well, maybe.
Oh, for assists.
For assists, Haaland top scorer. Like he had 2 months out.
Without looking, have a guess who's the top scorer in the league, top assister in the league right now. Without looking. Is it Foden? I don't think it is. No. Foden is 6th with 7.
Mad. So there's... Wow. Well, I know Salah's up there. It's not Salah, is it?
Salah's 5th with 8.
Damn, assists.
This is Premier League, by the way, not all comps.
Yeah. Well, unless it's Trent, I don't know.
Trent is 29th with 4.
Wow. Who is it then?
It's Kieran Trippier with 10.
Do they count his assists for other teams as well? Because he's made a few of those.
No, I wouldn't think so. It's Kieran Trippier with 10. Ollie Watkins is tied. So Ollie Watkins and Kieran Trippier, they're both on 10. Pascal Gross on 8. Neto's on 8. Salah's on 8. Phil Foden then is 6th on 7. I'm trying to find De Bruyne. He'll be pretty low down because he's only played... Haaland's on 5, to be fair to him. So he's on 16 goals.
Kevin De Bruyne is on 4. Kevin De Bruyne is on 4. Same as Trent. So he's, 6 behind with just under half a season to go? What? Give or take, like... How many games have we got left? 16?
Well, we're on 22 now. Check for you.
It's something like that, isn't it?
We're
23, so what, 15 games?
Yeah.
And he's 6 assists behind on 4. I'm sorry, he hasn't gone a game without a goal contribution. He's got 15 Premier League games and he's 6 assists behind. That's doable. I'm sorry, that's doable.
Chat, what do you reckon? Give us a yes in the chat or a W in the chat if Kevin De Bruyne hits, if he gets top assister this season. As Joe said, he's 6 behind with 15 games to go. Could Kevin De Bruyne be the top assister in the league this season? Hit a like if you think he will.
That's insane.
That is insane. That is insane. They should have capitalized while he was injured, man. Someone should have stood up and said, I am going to be the assister this season. And it should have been Trent. It should have been Trent because they gassed him up. And for him to only be on 4, I thought this guy was meant to be a creative machine.
That's pretty poor, actually.
Should we be having a conversation about Trent? Because from all the talk I've heard about Trent all season, I assumed he was like number 1 or 2 in terms of assists, but he's only on 4. So he's on the same as Kevin De Bruyne. And De Bruyne was out until January.
Kevin De Bruyne has played about 6 Premier League games. Oh dear. Like, it is mad because they were hyping him up, Trent, as being like one of the top performers this season. But like, to see he's on 4 assists, like Alvarez has more than that. And he's number 9.
Yeah. It's a difficult conversation. My guy Piplup always coming in, man. Big up Piplup with the £5. He says, we have Emil Heskey's son in our academy. His name is Jaden. He scored earlier today against Reading to help us advance in the FA Youth Cup. I have heard about Jaden Heskey, Piplup, but I can't say I've watched him or know much about him. You seem to know a fair bit about the underage teams, Piplup. If you have any more gems or hidden knowledge that you'd like to share with us, please do, because I found this really interesting. Emil Heskey's son in our academy. This isn't uncommon that we've had so many ex-players' sons in our academy. Didn't we have Darren Fletcher's, both of his kids? They left for
United. They ended up leaving for United, didn't they?
They ended up going to United in the end, but they were in our academy. Some of you guys in the chat will think of more. There's loads more who've had their kids in our academy and might still. Off the top of my head, I've forgotten, but there are definitely loads. Piplup, let me know about this Jaden Heskey. If he's one that could potentially, is he a striker that could potentially make it into the first team? I don't know. Big up for the super chat, Piplup. You're an absolute G, man. Massively appreciate you. Guys, 70 in the building, 64 likes, so we're doing very, very well. If any of you haven't hit the like button, make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. What's the subscriber count? Let me see what we're on now. I'd love to hit 7k ASAP. That'd be a great number to hit. Yeah, we're exactly 15 away from 7k subscribers. This is a fantastic community. I say this every single show. Absolutely love this community. It's one of my favorite shows I do every week. Obviously, myself and Joe do this multiple times a week. And you guys make it as great as it is just by hitting the like button, being subscribed, sending super chats if you want, becoming a channel member. The link is in the chat there if you wanna be a channel member, just helping us out. But we love getting you guys involved. It's a great community, mostly Man City fans, of course, but we get some people come in as well who are big Six fans and just want to share their thoughts. And once you're sharing your thoughts and you're being respectful and we're having a laugh, that's the main thing, man. Absolutely love this live podcast me and Joe do. It's a special community we have here. Careful, Hugh. Grizz will have a meltdown. Jeez, you don't want to upset Grizz with those Liverpool players, man. You can't slander the Liverpool players or talk bad on them because he does get upset. But big up Grizz and big up Piplup again for the super chat, man. I was having this chat with Jordan earlier, and I want to get your opinions, Joe, and chat get involved too. I'll try and read as many of your messages and comments as possible on Nathan Ake. And I said on the show earlier that I believe Ake is in the top 10 defenders in the world right now. And he's been our best defender for 18 months. Consistently, you talk about the treble winning season, like when we were going into the treble winning week, the FA Cup final, Champions League final, Ake was carrying a knock. We're all begging for Nathan Ake to be fit because he's that good. And then even before Christmas of the treble winning season, when we were kind of up and down a bit shaky, remember we drew with United as well, and around that kind of period, he was still performing. And he was class again last night. It's time we had a conversation about Nathan Ake. I think he's our best defender right now. In terms of consistency, always guaranteed a 7.5 out of 10, if not more. He's locked down Salah, he's locked down Saka. But people are kind of fixated and stuck in the mindset of, he's 40 million signing from Bournemouth. Guy's unreal, Joe.
I mean, I totally agree with your point that he's been our best defender this season. 100%. In terms of consistency, I mean, there was times in that streak of games where we were dropping points, where it was, Chelsea, Tottenham, Palace. We beat Luton in there, but there was a couple others where we dropped points in as well. Villa, we lost. And I was sat there, and it felt like I was talking to a brick wall, because I was going, why have we not seen Nathan Ake? Well, what is wrong? Why have we not seen this guy? Like, he was one of our best defenders last season. Why is he on the bench? I know we've just signed Vardiel, but it doesn't mean you have to drop Ake. They can play together, that sort of thing. And at that point, Diaz wasn't playing great, and Stones was injured and coming back, and it was one of those things. Walker wasn't playing great either, and it was like, why not give Nathan Ake a chance? And I think you will struggle to name at least 10 central defenders better than him. Like, at the moment, in terms of form, consistency, like, he will struggle. Because he's just that good. It's the consistency that he brings, the calmness that he brings. He does multiple roles. He's a great defender. Like, just out-and-out defender. Put aside his ball-playing ability. Like, he's just a good out-and-out defender. Like, most people would probably regard Saka last season as one of the best wingers in world football last season. He locked him down twice. Like, that's no easy feat. And I don't know why it took him so long to get into the team this season. I don't know whether it was trying to accommodate Vardiel. I really don't know. But you're reaping the rewards of having him in now. And now that Vardiel's got injured, he hasn't fazed me at all. Because I'm like, we've still got Nathan Ake who can play there. We've still got other defenders who can play in the middle. Doesn't faze me at all.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. John Santos says, Eder Militao, Virgil van Dijk, Araujo, Rudiger. I can't say I watched a huge amount of Militao, Araujo, or Rudiger this season, other than really Champions League, because they play in Spain, obviously. Van Dijk, I disagree. I think Van Dijk this season has been good, but last season he was poor. He was. If you're talking about consistency, Nathan Ake has been consistently really good since the beginning of last season. So you're talking what? We're in February now. You're talking what? Yeah, a year and a half, 18 months of just consistently solid. He may not be as elegant on the ball as Van Dijk. He may not be as elegant on the ball as even Vardiol or John Stones. But when you're talking about the art of defending and just out and out locking players down and being a nuisance for attackers, like, I'm so comfortable when Ake is going one-on-one with a defender or with an attacker, because I know he knows what he's doing. I know he's solid. Of course, he's prone to the odd blip or the odd slip up or mistake. They all are. But Ake consistently is 7.5 out of 10, man. He's such a underrated player. And it goes right back to the top of the stream where we were talking about City players not getting the praise they deserve and the red cartel media just ignoring our players when they're performing really, really well. Ake is another one of those players who I think the wider public just look at Ake and go, well, he was that signing they got from Bournemouth. He's still the fourth choice player. No, Ake is integral now to this team. Absolutely crucial to this team and our defensive solidity. So I just think he needs more respect, man. I think Nathan Ake needs more respect. We need to gas up our players when they're playing as well as they are and as consistently as they are. Foden's, Ake's, Rodri's and De Bruyne and Haaland are probably the only three who, outside the Man City sphere, get the respect they deserve. Even at that, you could argue they don't, because you're putting Declan Rice up against Rodri. People are, the fuck? Yeah, Rice has been great for 6 months at Arsenal. Rodri's been smashing it for years at Man City. De Bruyne, because they have to. You cannot ignore Kevin De Bruyne. And then Haaland, even though he bagged 52 goals last season, they still said, oh, well, he's just a finisher. He doesn't do anything else. Shut up, mate. He's a striker. He scores goals. But outside those three, no one else, Joe, in my opinion, gets the level of respect they deserve.
Yeah, and like you said, those three don't even get it. Haaland's a tapping merchant. Kevin De Bruyne spams crosses. And
Bevo's right here as well. You've seen our £15 million Akanji being voted best defender in the world by PFF. £15 million for this guy to be brought in as fifth choice. Mustard. Go on.
Like, Rodri's been in conversations with Casemiro. He fucked him off. Now it's Declan Rice. What do you want?
Party as well. Party.
Oh, gee. He was benched by Party at Atletico Madrid. Yeah, jog on, mate. Honestly, get a grip. Like, it's ridiculous that even our best players, like the best in their position type players, still don't get the recognition they deserve. And like you said, Nathan Ake has been pretty much bulletproof for the last 18 months. he might have had a couple of moments. But apart from that, like, he's been excellent. I haven't heard a peep from anyone outside of our circle, anyone that isn't a City fan, say anything about Nathan Ake. At all, anything. Like, silence, nothing. Like, I don't get it. Like, what does he have to do? Yeah, he cost 40 million. Yeah, he played for Bournemouth. So what?
No. LB1938 says Ake or Kanji isn't fifth choice. He started most games this season. No, I know he's not fifth choice. I'm just saying, LB, that people outside the City fan base still look at Akanji and go, oh, he's not that good, or he's their fifth choice. Whereas we know how good he is. I know how good he is. I know he's not fifth choice. I know how well he's done, and the price tag, coming in and that kind of thing. Kanji's class when he's doing in a role that he's comfortable. I'm not sure about the stepping into midfield for Akanji. I think that's Stones' thing. But in terms of, like, particularly last season, right back, centre half, whatever, left side, centre half, left back, Akanji was class. But I'm just talking about people outside the Man City kind of community. Like, the overall point that we're making here throughout the stream about all sorts of players is that City players don't get the general recognition and respect they deserve. They don't. How can you tell me the treble winners that are getting compared to players who've won fuck all? Saka to Foden, Bruno Fernandes to Kevin De Bruyne. How many players has Kevin De Bruyne been put up against and brushed them all aside? You know what I'm saying? Haaland to Højlund. Remember that? Haaland to Darwin Núñez. Remember that? What else was it? There was loads over the years that our players. Remember with the years we were going neck and neck with Liverpool, and we're doing combined 11s with Liverpool, and you see content creators and mainstream media doing City versus Liverpool combined 11s, and it'll be predominantly red. You see 3 or 4 City players in there, but the rest will be all Liverpool. But we'd always end up with the trophies. How do you explain that to me? How do you tell me the team that wins the trophies every year, multiple of them, doesn't have the most players in the combined 11? What?
Well,
what,
that just then either Pep Guardiola is the greatest manager of all time for making this sack of shite team beat yous, or you're chatting shit. One of the two. It is one of the two.
It's just rubbish, man. It's just
you can't have it both ways. You can't say Pep Guardiola's a checkbook manager and then say all his players are shit.
I know, man. I know. It's just... It blows my mind. Briggsy, De Bruyne was a 50 million flop. Then Bruno is better than the treble winning Kevin De Bruyne. It just makes sense to me, Briggsy. Haaland has scored more goals this season than Højlund has in his professional career. Got 4 goals at Atalanta and 5 so far in the Prem.
That's ridiculous.
You got to big up Ake in the Big Six if they let you speak, considering they all speak over you. That's the thing with the Big Six, man. They're all my bros, man. They're all my bros. Love the guys, but they're all like the wider media. They don't like too much time for City praise. When I try to gas up City players, they'll try and shoot you back down a bit. But you best believe, Piplup, tomorrow night, if they ask me about Champions League and that, I'm gonna go and praise Nathan Ake. I'm gonna praise Phil Foden as I always do. I'm gonna praise Nathan Ake. Absolutely, Piplup. Just before we wrap up, a couple of injuries, Joe, particularly the Grealish one, to Bernardo obviously as well, but the Grealish one, I was gutted for Jack Grealish last night, man. I really was gutted for him. It was a big night for him, coming back into the team properly for the first time in a while, and he's going to be out for, I'd say, a month and a half now.
Yeah. The worst part about it is it was non-contact. He wasn't tackled. He didn't overstretch. He just pulled up. Like, it was out of nothing. And that was the worst part for me, because that suggests that, it's something serious. And maybe that was a potential reason as to why he's not been playing recently, that maybe he has been carrying something. Or maybe there has been a worry that, there's something there that he could aggravate. Maybe that's been a reason. Because I said in my preview, if he doesn't start this game, then I'd be worried. When we talked about all the Grealish training stuff and storming off, and we kind of came to the conclusion that it was more he's being saved for this running that we've got coming up. And I said in my preview, I basically backed that up, and I said in my preview that if he doesn't start this game, then I might be a little bit worried about, where this season is going. But he started, and when he was on the pitch, we looked really, really good. We were in control, totally in control. When he went off, kind of waned a little bit. Doku came on. Doku didn't play bad, by the way, but we just lost a little bit of control. It's almost like it upset us a little bit, not having Grealish. It's almost like we planned for Grealish. Doku is complete opposite. And the game plan kind of went out the window for a little bit, and then, of course, they scored, and that didn't help things. But again, you see what he brings to the team: calmness, control. Exactly what we need in these big away games. Exactly what we need in this running that we're going to have. And now that he's going to be out for a month, like, it's really not ideal, because as much as I love Jeremy Doku, I don't trust Jeremy Doku at Anfield to hold his own. I don't. I really don't. I see him trying to take on Trent, losing the ball, and Liverpool flying up the other end and being in on goal. Like, that's not an ideal situation. With Grealish, you don't have that worry. There's no worry of that happening with Grealish.
I don't think Doku will play in Anfield.
I don't either.
Bernardo and Foden on the wings. Yeah.
But it does throw the game plan out the window a little bit, doesn't it? Because you plan for this running with someone like a Grealish, and then he gets injured out of nothing. Like, it was out of complete nothing.
Yeah. It's a big blow, and I really, really hope he comes back sooner than people are fearing, because he is huge for us, whether you like it or not, whether you rate the amount of G&A he gets or not. To the way we play football and the way Pep wants to play football, Jack Grealish is so important. And to be fair to him, he was actually playing quite well before he went off last night. He looked like he was up for it, like he was hungry. It just is what it is, man. It's a real shame. I feel for the guy. You guys know I'm a massive Jack Grealish fan. Hi guys, I have respect for Irish people, but that Richie Sadler is a stain. Sadler, man, I don't pay attention to Richie Sadler. Lassiel, trust me, he doesn't represent me or us. I'm not a massive fan of him either. Hugh, let us give our players the recognition they deserve. Ignore the jealous haters. Exactly, it's up to us as City fans. Rosemary, injured due to not playing match level. Could have been, John. Could have been. How long till Bernardo comes back? There's no time frame given. Rodri_16. There's no time frame given. Hugh, here's a big fact from Ederson's mistake last night. The only second mistake. That's the only the second mistake he has made that has led to a goal in the last 3 seasons. Yeah, people focus on Ederson's mistakes when they come along, but they're rarely as bad as they were last night. You got to take the rough with the smooth with Ederson. It's the kind of player he is. He plays on the edge. He's a risk taker, but he's so good that more often than not it pays off. You just got to allow for it. I mean, you just have to hope that he doesn't do anything like that in like a Champions League final or a crucial game, but he doesn't usually. I mean, last Champions League final, last June, he was absolutely class, wasn't he, Joe?
Yeah, I'm not losing sleep over it. Like, I wasn't really too pushed. Even at the time when it happened, I'm like, so what? He's made a mistake. Oh no! Like, I'd rather he makes a mistake now against Copenhagen than against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu, or like you said, in the Champions League final, because that would be catastrophic. That'd be like panic stations.
Joe, put the link to the members in the chat there. Aneda Stark says, how can I be a member? There's a link in the chat now. Click that link, Aneda, for anybody who wants to become a channel member. It's $3.99 a month. You'll see Bevo there. He's got a badge. Briggsy's there as well. Bevo, Briggsy, Puneet was here. Anybody who wants to be a member, you'll become a channel moderator and you'll get a badge beside your name. You get access to some cool emojis. Bevo, check the emojis out there and put some of them in the chat. I want to see what ones are there. I think Joe might have made a new one. Is it there now, Joe?
I think someone put it in before. I saw a lot of 115s from someone.
Yeah, there should be a 115. If you click the emojis now, you'll be able to see them, but they'll be locked. There you go. Aneda Stark is a channel member. Big up Aneda Stark, man. Welcome to the HMTV army. There's Bevo and Brax. Brax is a member. He's using the Pep emoji. Bevo's using the trophies. Pep, the 115 emoji. We love that 115 emoji. Big up Aneda for becoming a member. Massively, massively appreciate you. I massively appreciate all of our members. And if any of you want to be a member, the link is in the chat there. Thank you, though, Aneda. You're very welcome in the community here. Guys, make sure you've hit the like button if you haven't done so already. What's Piplup saying? Sissoko has been in the squad a lot. He's also a defensive midfielder. I've heard about Sissoko. I've heard a lot of people rate him. Piplup, I'll have to keep an eye out for him. Why doesn't Bernardo Silva get as much recognition as Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri? That's another player. Bernardo Silva deserves more flowers than he gets. You know, when people talk about him, they say, yeah, he's a great footballer, and then they move on really quick. They don't actually talk about the elegance of Bernardo Silva. Hugh, got a proposition for you. I sent you a DM earlier. Get back to us when you can. I'll have a look after the stream, Briggsy. Sorry if I missed your message. Is there anything I'm missing, Joe, regarding anything?
I think we covered all bases. The goals, the Ederson mistake at the end, injuries. Phil Foden got his flowers. You touched on fucking talk shite and their agendas. I think that's a good one.
Chat, anything you guys want to talk about? I got a bit of a lie-in tomorrow, so I'm not in too much of a rush to end the stream. But if we're kind of done, we can wrap it up. But if there's anything you guys want to talk about, feel free to send it in. But yeah, while we're here, 77 likes. How many subscribers are we off the big 7K? It's been a sick stream, man. I love these shows. I love chatting to you guys. Yeah, we're still 15 likes off, so maybe we'll hit 7K in the next few days. Scott Carson deserves more praise. He's the dad of our squad. Piplup, you're on the wind-up now. You're on the wind-up now. I suppose that's kind of it. If Chelsea play low block, yeah, I mean, will we be live before Chelsea?
They won't play a low block. Pochettino won't play a low block. Look at the 4-4. He won't do it.
What do you think about the Chelsea game? How are you feeling about it?
I'm so confident. Like, I am ridiculously confident for that. This is revenge on the cards here. We need to batter him for what they did. 4 goals against that average Chelsea side. We need to hammer him.
Do you see them causing us any threat, any problems?
Of course, if they're on it. Like, if they play like they did against Aston Villa at Villa Park in, I believe it was a cup match, the FA Cup replay, then yeah, of course, they're going to cause us a few problems. But, like, if we defend like we did, like, if we play like that we did against Copenhagen, then we'll be fine. Like, they only scored. They had 1 shot on target, and it was because Ederson kicked it to him. Like, if we play like that, we play like, I forget the game before that Everton barely did anything. We play like that at home. We'll be grand. We'll be fine.
I think we'll beat Chelsea. Would you consider starting Bob? I actually trust Oscar Bob. If Pep starts Oscar Bob, I don't view it as like this is a downgrade or we're giving someone a chance here. I trust Oscar Bob to do a very good job. I really, really rate Oscar Bob. I think he's such a talented player, and he's another one that I just hope trusts the process like Phil Foden did. I think Oscar Bob really has the capacity to go on and be a world-class player. He's got the ability, he's got the talent, he's got the whole lot. He seems to have a good attitude. I just hope he doesn't get too big for his boots. I don't think he will, but I just hope he doesn't get too big for his boots and try and move away and demand more game time. He stays humble, he stays grounded. Oscar Bob he's going to be a sensation. Chelsea still the only team in Champions League history to have scored 3 or more goals in the last 7 Champions League games. Crazy stats, man. There's new stats coming out every week about this team. We're an exceptional team, and like we said all stream, we don't get the praise we deserve, man. We really don't. But yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up. We've been live for an hour and 10 minutes. It's been an absolutely fantastic stream. Absolute pleasure to speak to all of you as always. If you're watching it on playback, hit the like button on the stream. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. We're really close to 7K now. The link is in the chat now again. If any of you have decided you want to come and join HMTV Army like Bevo, like Briggsy, like Aneda, like Puneet, like any of these guys, if you want to be a channel member, the link is in the chat there. And I've got Big 6 tomorrow at 9. So I don't know if we'll be live, and then I don't know what I'm doing on Friday, but keep the notification bell on so you don't miss when we go live. We'll definitely be live over the weekend. I think we should be anyway. Joe will be making videos as always, but yeah, big up to all of you lot, man. Been an absolute pleasure, and yeah, speak very soon. Good night and God bless. Wrap her up, Joy Boy.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand.